Hello there, fellow bookish beings. It's Jessica, the bookish Filipina who wants to get serious in her love for books. And today we are going to talk about the 9 books that I have finished in the months of May and June. And as someone who reads slowly and has a full time working schedule, I am quite proud of myself for averaging 9 books consistently now. So, yeah, good job, Jess. Anyway, this was a surprisingly mixed reading months for me. I did find a new favorite book, and then I almost DNF'd one, and then I got into Lord of the Rings finally. So I'm so excited to share my thoughts with you. Let's get into it. The first book I would like to talk about is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, where we follow Hercule Poirot as he investigates a murder in a snowbound luxury train. I mean, when I read Poirot novels, there's just always that accent in my head for Poirot. Anyways, so going into this book, I had very high expectations for it because, there was a movie made about it. Everyone keeps on telling me that the ending is fantastic. But then when I got to reading it, I actually already sort of figured out how everything would unfold way before the ending. And that usually never happens to me when I read a Christie novel. I mean, I have several hypotheses, but they're all proven wrong by Poirot. So, unfortunately, my jaw didn't drop for the reveal of this one. Don't get me wrong though, I still love Poirot, and Christie remains one of my favorite murder mystery authors. It's just that if you are going to read a Poirot Christie novel, then better read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Well, if you're not really interested in Poirot, then you can also better read And Then There Were None. Trust me, your jaw would like roll over the floor. Next up is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is a romance novel about 2 doctors with heavy emotional baggage navigating friendship, work, and eventually love. I only gave this book 3 stars. I know a lot of people love this Abby Jimenez book, but it was just not for me. Let me tell you why. So, Jacob, the male lead, actually stole my heart. He was introverted. He had this social anxiety that felt very authentic and heartfelt. However, the main female lead, Brianna, didn't really click for me, which is weird because I almost always connect with strong female leads. Now, while the characters really have a lot of chemistry, I mean, there's a lot of push pull between them, there's just something about reading chapters and chapters of negative self talk and self sabotage that wasn't particularly enjoyable for me. I mean, I get it. We get the point of view of these characters and what's going on in their head, but half of the chapters would be about them basically, yeah, just talking negatively to themselves. And it really didn't help me, I guess, at the time that I was reading it because I was also going through something. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below which Abby Jimenez book you would recommend for someone like me. I am still open to reading some of her books. I just don't know exactly which one I would like. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Next up is a nonfiction. Wait. Yes, it's a nonfiction buddy read that I did with Mystery Man, and it is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Now, I was very skeptical about this book because the premise is very intuitive and simple. It's to let people do what they're going to do and let go of the things that you cannot control. And as a reforming control freak, the advice on this book was very helpful. However, I only rated it 3 stars because I felt like the concept felt stretched far too much beyond what is needed. For example, it did not need to be a 350 plus page book. And I actually told this to Mystery Man, and he did not end up finishing the book, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably shouldn't have, but I don't know. It was just one Great concept. And that's the thing. It's a great concept. It's just that it was repeated too many times, and so it just felt redundant and repetitive at the end of the book. The intro also promised extensive research and expert insights, and it did have those things, but it did not really come across as that scientifically backed book that it wanted to be, unlike, for example, Quiet by Susan Cain. Now, that book has research upon research that is fascinating to read. Next up is Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is a prequel to the very famous Legends and Lattes, where we follow Viv in her recovery after an accident in one of her adventures in this sleepy seaside town. Now, on paper, I would have loved this book. It would have been everything for me. I mean, cozy fantasy, bookshops, Viv, a foul mouth bookseller. I mean, yes, 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 and yes. But in reality, I got bored. And that's why I only gave this book 3 stars. I did love the characters, especially Pot Roast, the owl puppy winged creature. But the story just kind of felt like it drifted without enough momentum. In contrast to Legends and Lattes, where, the sleepy moments felt purposeful and it made the story more cozy, here it felt a little bit more of a filler. And I did read the what's that called? Basically the part in the end of the book where the author explains how the book came to be. And apparently this book was an, can I say, amalgamation of the different works that he tried to do. And so this book sort of like was a Frankenstein of all those failed books, something like that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that sort of seeped through in the storytelling. But will I still recommend this book? Yes, but not as adamantly as Legends and Lattes. Now that was a good book. Next up is The Amberglow Candy Store by Hiyoko Kurisu. This is a linked story collection that follows a magical candy shop owned and operated by a demigod with mysterious mystical powers, and the people going into the store navigating their different problems. Now, what I love about Japanese translated works is that it's really about human struggles. The problems aren't world ending, it's about loneliness, grief, love, hope, the 4 seasons of my life. And when I was reading this book, it felt like I was drinking a warm cup of sweet tea on a rainy day. It was so sweet. I only gave it 3 stars because I was expecting a lot more from Kogetsu's backstory. Kogetsu is the demigod owner of this magical candy shop. It was just that there was a lot of buildup from the very beginning of the book as to why Kogetsu is interested in human emotions, why he runs this shop, etc. And I was expecting a lot more depth on his backstory, but nevertheless, still worth the read. And it's a short book too, so definitely a good sort of pick me up on those slow days or when you're feeling a reading slump coming on. This is the book to pick up. Next up is Pen Pal by J.T. Geissinger. This follows a widow who is receiving these very mysterious letters from an unknown prisoner whose intentions may not be what they seem. I actually found this as an audiobook, and it was my first audiobook, my first non-fiction, no, sorry, my first fiction audiobook in quite some time. And the narrators really blew me away. I mean, they were amazing. At one point, I thought there were other narrators, but it was just the female lead in her different accents. It was great. And the mystery as well in the book is very satisfying. The reveal was amazing. The epilogue was also very fitting to the entire story. However, I only rated this book 3 stars because of the many, many, many explicit scenes. And I mean explicit. And to me, the book would have been great even without too much of those explicit, or what the kids call it, spicy scenes. Next up is Spells, Strings, and Forgotten Things by Breane Randall. This is a story about three sisters protecting their town from dark forces while uncovering deep family secrets. This was my first two-star read of the year, maybe ever, and my first almost DNF. But I powered through it because I really wanted to give this book a chance. And I gave it 2 stars and not 0 or 1, because it really had all the elements that I would have loved to see in a book: witches, magic, sisters. It should have and could have been better. But this story felt so chaotic. I was confused because the book was confused. I didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a cozy fantasy, or a fast paced action fantasy, or a. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even want to guess at this point. And the prose was lovely as well. And I really appreciated the multicultural concept of magic that the book wanted to again execute. However, as I read through the story, it felt more and more incoherent. I'm actually surprised that there would be a book two for this one. The thing that annoys me the most about this book is that it had so much potential, but the execution was just, to me, not great. So, would I recommend this book to anybody? Well, let's just say that there are so many other books that you can prioritize before reading this book. Let's move on now to the books which are truly for me. And the first book in this category is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the first installment of The Lord of the Rings, where we follow Frodo as he journey outside of the Shire, carrying the One Ring. The One Ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, bind them. Chills. This book is a masterclass on world building. I mean, you can feel Tolkien's love for language, mythology, and storytelling on every page. The thing is that the first few chapters of the book felt a lot slower than I anticipated, as compared to the films that I really love. In the films, everything felt urgent from the very beginning, but the book takes its sweet time. For example, there was a huge gap between Frodo receiving the ring and him leaving the Shire eventually. Samwise Gamgee proved to be my favorite character on screen and in the book as well. I am definitely looking forward to reading the entire series, and maybe also The Hobbits and the Silmaril, if I'm pronouncing it right. However, I only gave this book 4 stars. The thing is that I loved reading the book more than I loved the book itself, if that makes sense. But again, I am so excited to continue on the series. I actually made a reading vlog. If you're interested to check it out, I will link it down below or here in the cards. And the last book is Mr. Magic by Kiersten White, where we follow former child stars reuniting to discuss a mysterious television show that may never have existed at all. This was a surprise 5-star read for me. It was incredible. I mean, I had no expectations whatsoever going into the book. I only picked it up because I got curious with the book cover, and it proved to be a very interesting book. The setting was so eerie, it's unsettling, makes you question what's real. And the book is structured so that you question, or you get curious more and more about the mystery behind the book rather than just explaining it all away. I also love the commentary on belief systems and childhood nostalgia. It was basically like you wake up from a dream and you know you had this weird dream, and then you realize that that dream was actually a nightmare. It was so creepy. Definitely a must read. I mean, it's not exactly in my favorite books of all time list. That is a very exclusive list, but it's in the tier where I would recommend it to anybody and everybody. Let me know in the comments down below what should be my next Kiersten White read. I'm thinking Lucy Undying. And that is it for me today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, fellow bookish beings. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you have any book recommendations for me. I would love to have a bookish chat together. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel as well. Really motivates me to produce more content. And if you're on TikTok, I do have a TikTok page as well. So, yeah, I will see you in the next book. Bye.